Okay, you know when you're taking driver's ed and they show you like all of the worst possible like accidents? Do you guys do that in your driver's ed classes? I know I did, and you have to watch those videos where it's like this person was drunk and then they crashed and killed like 5 other people, and you're like, I don't know if I want to watch this right now. It kind of just terrifies me of driving. But it's good, right? Because we need a little bit of fear in us when we're driving, because it's a big deal. It's a big responsibility. I was thinking the other day, how many guys multitask while you're a multitask driver? Those of you guys who drive. I know there's not many of you. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys a couple pictures. So let's put that first one up. Okay, this is multitask. I'm pretty sure he's parked. So let's be real, he's probably parked. At least we hope so. But I legit see people driving like on the freeway looking like this guy right here, right? And ladies are no better. Let's put that next one up. Ladies are like doing this on their way to work, doing their makeup, right? We're all always trying to multitask. And here's the funny part about it, right? Is we all know it's not good. We all know it's not safe. Yeah, we all do it anyway, right? Let's put that next slide up there. Now, let me explain something. So, this is actually a really funny story. So, this was a girl who was driving this car. That's the DMV that she's crashed into right now. So, this girl gets in the car. She's about to take her driver's license test. She's about to get approved to be driving. The instructor gets in the car. They're leaving the DMV. They pull out to where the street is to leave the DMV. And the instructor says, okay, just turn left here, like nice and slow, take it easy. Somehow she manages to do a full U-turn and drive straight back into the DMV, crashing through the front window, and she failed, obviously. Let's put the next one up. This one, same issue. This is a kid taking their driving test, crashes into the side of a building. It's very embarrassing. Let's go with the next one. This is Target. For those of you who love Target, somebody was like way too excited for some red tag deals and just like, they're just going for it. I don't know how you manage this one. And it's like into all the electronics, which is just unfortunate. All those beautiful Bluetooth speakers, just gone. Now, but don't put the next one up yet, but before we do, actually, let's just put the next one up there. Let's do it. This is literally all of us too distracted trying to get that Travis Scott meal right now, and we're just like straight in. I don't know how people manage this stuff, right? Like you see this and you're like, how do you even end up in this spot, right? I forgot to start my timer, so I'm going to do that real quick because I do not want to talk your guys' heads off all night. Here's the thing. I like to ramble, so I'll say the same thing like 10 times in a row, over and over and over again, unless I'm like on a schedule. So I'm going to be on a schedule tonight for you guys because we got a lot to talk about. But when I saw these photos, I was going to show videos of like epic driving fails where people just like get in the craziest accidents just doing stupid stuff. And I opted out of it because I was like, people get hurt from those, don't really want to show it. Every single thing I just showed you, nobody was like seriously injured. Everyone was okay. McDonald's, they broke the ice cream machine. That's why you can't get ice cream anymore. But it was probably already broken anyway, so we're all good there. How many of you guys have gotten that Travis Scott meal, by the way? Did you know that McDonald's is like short on hamburgers right now? Like there's a hamburger shortage at McDonald's because so many people are shopping. And sorry, I was reading all this stuff the other day and I thought it was so funny. Did you know that Travis Scott got fined? The county, he visited a McDonald's, okay, and was like serving Travis Scott meals to people. Super funny. It was this big publicity thing. But the county fined him because so many people showed up in that town. It was like crowded. The streets were crowded. Nobody could drive. Nobody was wearing masks. So they called it like for health reasons. That's why they fined him. I don't know why I guess it's his fault, but what are you going to do? Travis Scott wants to go to McDonald's, let him go to McDonald's, you know? Now, all of these instances are people, for the most part, people who are new drivers, right? Now, when you first start learning to drive, or if you've been driving for any amount of time so far, what's the number one thing people tell you when you start driving? What's the number one thing? Anyone know? Keep your eyes on the road, right? When you start driving, the number one thing people tell you is keep your eyes on the road, is pay attention, right? Look at where you're going, keep your eyes on the road. That's why we say don't text and drive, right? Because when I'm like this, and I'm sipping on my Coke, I'm not paying attention to nothing that's going on around me. A good example of this, I don't know if you guys have ever been in a drive-thru, and you're like looking at your phone while you're waiting, which we all do, let's be honest. If you have a phone, we all do it. And then you like look up and you're like 3 cars behind now, and you're like, oh, I didn't even know everyone moved. Because we're so distracted on something else, right? The same is true. This is why they say keep your eyes on the road, right? Is we want to keep our sight on the road. We want to be focused. How many guys were here last Tuesday? John gave an awesome message last week about godliness. I know all of you guys who were here, you enjoyed it. We were all blessed by it. If you didn't watch it tonight, go on YouTube and just watch it. The Mission FCC, we post all of our messages on there. So you guys can go rewatch stuff. If you felt like something was meaningful and impactful, I encourage you guys to go rewatch things. You can watch messages from weeks ago, months ago, whatever. But I'm gonna call this message tonight track 2 of the message last week. Okay? So this is track 2, and the reason is when I was praying and I was seeking the Lord, I was like, Lord, what do you want me to share? What do you want me to give to these students? And to be honest, it's always a struggle for me because I feel like a lot of times I don't know. Like, I don't really know what you guys need, in a given moment. So I try and spend as much time as I can seeking the Lord, like, Lord, what do you want me to share? And tonight I want to talk to you guys about just one thing and one thing only, and that's this, is that you steer where you stare, okay? This is true in driving, right? We have this principle, keep your eyes on the road. And the reason is because where you look, you go. When you're driving, where your eyes go, you follow after. I was trying to find a steering wheel all week. Turns out nobody has steering wheels just lying around their house, so I couldn't find one. But when we're driving, right, if I start to look to the left, your hands naturally gravitate toward the left, whether you want to or not. This is why when you're driving, if you're about to get in an accident, like if you're really close to another car, don't look at the car that you're trying not to hit. You can look for a second and be like, oh, I'm about to hit this car. But then you don't stare at the car, because what happens is, without you knowing, your hands start turning towards the car, and then you end up hitting them. A lot of the videos I was watching, I was like, how do you even manage to do this? Like, people got in some like weird accidents, right? Where they're just like driving and there's no reason to crash into anybody, and then they're just like looked over, and then the person starts freaking out, and then they're like spinning their wheel all over the place, and then they're like just crash into a divider or whatever. Because they take their eyes off what's important. They take their eyes off the road. There's 3 types of distracted driving. The first one is cognitive. Right? All 3 of them are going to be up there in a minute. But it's taking your mind off driving while operating your vehicle. Okay, this is when our minds go somewhere else, right? So you're driving and you're thinking like, I wonder who's going to be at group tonight. I wonder if Susie's going to be there. But if Jennifer's going to be there, I don't know if I really want to be there, And then you're thinking like, but if Joey's there, I for sure want to be there, group. And we got, like, when our mind is completely somewhere else. Like, you're driving, your eyes are on the road, right? You got your hands on the steering wheel. But my mind is nowhere near where, like, I'm not thinking about what I'm doing. Have you guys ever done this where you're driving and then all of a sudden you're, like, home? For those of you who drive, and then you're like, I don't remember, like, the last 10 things I did before I got home, because we just, like, autopilot drive. It's not good, because what that means is our minds are disconnected from what we're doing. The second one is manual distraction. And this is when we do stuff that takes our hands off the wheels or off the gas pedals, off the controls. Now, this one's rare and weird. Like, if you're letting go of the steering wheel in your car, like, there's other issues going on here, right? If you just decide, oh yeah, I forgot I had brake pedals and I'm not going to use them, you're going to have problems. But it turns out this is a normal thing that people encounter, right? They get distracted by something, and then they just, like, I don't know if I should tell this story. I just won't say their name, but there's a friend of mine who was driving, and a mosquito flew into their car, okay? They were freaking out, trying to find the mosquito, got their phones out, flashlight. It's super dark. They're just trying to figure out, where's this mosquito? They're freaking out. At some point, both the passenger and the person driving stopped paying attention. They crashed into the center divider, flipped the car, rolled like 5 times. It's on the other side of the freeway, just like spinning with cross traffic coming in. Crazy. Both of them are completely fine. They both walked away without a scratch. Like, praise the Lord for that. But what happened is they got distracted by something, and then they just let go of the controls, right? Don't do that, especially when you're driving. The last one is visual, is when we take our eyes off the road while driving. Now, which one of these 3 do you guys think is the leading cause of accidents? Thalia, what is it? That last one, right? Obviously, because I already explained what we're talking about, so I kind of gave you guys the answer. But taking your eyes off the road is the leading cause of all the accidents, right? It seems the most simple, right? It seems like, you know, if I stopped thinking, you think that you would get in an accident. But for some reason, when your eyes are still focused on what they need to be focused on, your body responds and you do what you're supposed to do. But when we take our eyes off the road, we get in trouble. Gary Magwood, I don't know if you guys know him, but he's this former national racing champion. Dude's an incredible racer, and now he teaches racing. He's a race instructor. He said this. He said, "You steer where you stare. When trouble arises, you must look where you want to go." Right? Same thing as we talked about before. When you get in trouble, when you're in a difficult situation, you don't look at what the trouble is. You need to look at, where do I need to go? And this is from a dude who's been racing his whole life, right? Cars going really fast, people all around, people bumping into each other. Like, it's intense. And the secret is, when you're driving, you keep looking at, like, what is my goal? What is my destination? Where am I heading? I'm looking forward at the prize. I'm looking forward at what I need to be looking at. And I'm ignoring the things around me, because I know if I look at those things, they're going to begin to steer me where I don't want to go. Whatever we're staring at, now I want to apply this to us a little bit, right? Because obviously this applies to driving, but the things that we look at in our lives, the same is true. They influence where you're headed in your life. Can we be honest tonight, like with each other and with ourselves? I want you to just be honest with yourself tonight and take a good look at yourself and think about, like, what do you really look at in life? You know, where is your attention? Like, where is your focus? Where is your sight? Because I'm here to tell you, wherever that is, wherever your attention is, that's where you're headed, whether you want it or not. Right? The things that you're looking at, the things that you're watching, they're going to lead you down paths that maybe you don't want to go down. I need some help. I need 10 people up here. I want some people from the back. So anybody who's in the back rows, just come on up here. Just race up here. I don't care what it takes. I need 10 people up here right now. I want to show you guys something tonight, okay? Is this exactly 10 people right now? Here, let's line up all the way down the stage. I probably should have told you guys to put your mask on, but I think everybody did. Wow, you guys are incredible. I don't even have to tell you guys. Boom, I'm gonna give you guys this one. I want 5 of you on one side, 5 on the other, so you 5 stay over here. You can leave a gap for me in the middle, unless Emma wants to be the center of attention today. Just kidding. Show off your dance moves. Okay, I hope you guys can see them. You guys can scoot forward a tiny bit if you want. Just hold those up in front of yourself. Now, while I was thinking about this, I was thinking about myself, okay? And I was thinking about the things in my life that influence me. So I wrote a lot of them down, and I was also thinking some things for you guys. Like, what are some things that I know my high school students that I work with, that they are struggling with? They're like things that they get influenced in their life. So I wrote a bunch of stuff down. You got small groups, right? How many guys are in small groups? Okay, small groups can be an influence in you. Fashion, TikTok, Instagram, friends, music, YouTube, movies, sports, Jesus. All of these things are influences in our life. Things that we look at, things that we pay attention to, that we give our time to, right? Some of them way more than we should, right? And I know you guys know this. Now, here's the thing. I'm not here to tell you that you can't have Instagram, that you can't have YouTube, that you can't have these things that are up here. I'm not here to tell you can't have Jesus, okay? Right? Obviously. But what I am here to tell you is that what we give our attention to affects where we're going to go. What you stare at is what's going to lead you to certain places. Now, I like Instagram, right? I like fashion. I like YouTube way too much, okay? Remember, we're being honest tonight, so honestly, me and my wife spend probably hours most nights, and when we get home and we'll just sit on the couch or whatever, and we just put YouTube videos on, and we just get down all those YouTube rabbit holes, and you guys know what I'm talking about, where it's just like video, and then it kind of just is continually playing, and you're just like distracted watching it, and you just don't have any other cares in the world because you're just tired and lazy, and you got nothing better to do, so you're just like, I'm just gonna watch YouTube, because I can't find any more good movies or series to watch out there anymore. I don't want to watch The Office again. I love The Office, but you can only watch it so many times in a row before you're like, okay, I need to give it a few months or a few weeks before I go back again, right? I like YouTube. I like TikTok. But only this much, okay? And here's why, because TikTok reminds me a lot of like the vibes that Vine used to give off, right? Where you got all these videos, all these people being creative. It's funny, it's great, like it's a really great opportunity. But here's why I don't like TikTok, and I'm not here to say like you can't have TikTok, whatever. It's not what I'm doing here tonight. But I don't like TikTok because if you spend like 5 minutes on TikTok, which I just watch TikTok videos on YouTube, I don't even have the app because I know I would waste too much time on it. In one moment, it's just like you're just watching a funny video, somebody doing the skit, and the next moment, it's like this really, really sad like story that's playing out, and you're like, oh, this is terrible. Oh. And it's like, If the World Was Ending is playing in the background, and you're just like crying, and you're like, I don't want the world to end, I don't want to die. And then it's like, the banjo beat plays, or something, or like, somebody's just like, I'm a savage. And then you're just like, okay, this is kind of fun, like we're dancing, this is upbeat, like this makes me happy. And then the next moment, it's like some kid and their mom, they're like, don't you hate it when your parents do this and this and this? And I'm like, why do we all hate our parents now? Like, the 9 things that are the worst things that parents do. And you're like, okay, well, I guess this is what we're doing. And it's like this emotional roller coaster where you're like, wow, I'm really happy, I'm really sad. Now I hate my parents. And now it's like, and you're just like up, down, and afterwards you're just like, what even just happened to my life? And then you watch it and you're like, you wonder why your emotions are a wreck and that you are struggling with depression and all these things or whatever, because you, like the things that we're filling ourselves with, the things that we're watching, that we're giving our time to, affect us, right? I love music, right? A lot of us, how many of you guys like listen to music all day? If I'm not like doing something where I can't listen to music, I literally have music playing all day. I never drive without music unless I have like, I'm on the phone or something. And I play music loud. I like loud music. I love music. I write music. I play music. Like, that's just my thing, right? And there's a lot of great music out there in the world. But we all know that music can be a bad influence, right? We all know it. What I want to tell you guys, I want you to think about for a moment is, I want you to imagine like, okay, we're all in a car together. Okay, this is my life. These are my things. These are the things that have influence over me. Some of you guys might relate. We're driving, okay? And right now, maybe the things that have the most influence over me are music and my friends, right? And you got your friends, and then you have your small group, right? And it's like, these are my friends. Those are just kids from my small group. Like, we call them friends when we're at small group, but they're not actually your friends. Like, you don't actually open up to them or are vulnerable with them. That's just your small group, right? So these are my friends. That's my small group. Just wanted to make that clear. And And then we're driving, and I'm like, I love music. I love all this stuff. Life is great. And then I get distracted, and we start to turn, and then it's like, oh, shoot. Now I'm in the bottom of a ditch, right? And we crash. That escalated really quickly, I know. And it's like, okay, now I'm in an accident. And then it's like, Jesus! Where you at, Jesus? Oh, there's Jesus. Jesus, where you been? What are you doing, man? Why aren't you helping me out? Okay, why don't you guys switch real quick? It's because, I need this guy over here, right? It's like, okay, I'm in a ditch. I need help. I need Jesus, right? How many, we do this. Honestly, we do this. And then it's like, okay, I recognize my friends aren't doing too great for me. I need, my small group over here. So why don't you guys switch real quick? See ya, Emma. Okay, and then it's like, oh, yes, I feel so much better. Jesus is healing me. I got my small group with me. They're helping me out. It's like, oh, things are good, right? And then we start driving. Car gets fixed up, right? Because Jesus is great like that. Song like Jesus Take the Wheel. And it's like, Jesus, take the wheel. And then he's like, nope, keep your hands on the steering wheel, right? That's number 2. Remember that. It's like, we still got to drive. Jesus is here, and he's here to help us and guide us, but it's like, you got to push the gas pedal sometimes, right? So we're driving. Things are good now. But then we start to get comfortable, we're on the freeway, and it's like, I'm kind of tired of listening to Chris Tomlin on repeat, I kind of want some new music. I'm kind of sick of worship music, so I don't know, maybe you move down there. I'm going to watch music on YouTube now, get some music videos going. And it's like, okay, I'm getting comfortable, right? And it's like, I kind of took a break from Instagram because I needed to clear my head. I needed to relax, get some stuff in order. But it's like, I'm cool with Instagram now, And I really don't like my small group, so you can actually go way back over there. And then, where's all my small group boys at? I'm not talking about you guys, okay? I love you guys, all right? Oh, man. They're going to not come to group on Thursday, that's for sure. Okay, so we're this is our life, right? Thank you guys so much for helping out, by the way. You're not allowed to leave yet. You got to stay the whole message. So I hope you guys are cool with that. Yeah. No, I'm kidding. You don't have to say the whole message. But I want to read you guys something in Hebrews. It says this. It says, therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and sin that so easily entangles us. And let us run the race that was marked out for us, with perseverance, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the author and the perfecter of our faith. For the joy that was set before him, Jesus, this is who we're talking about, Jesus endured the cross, right? Because Jesus had something in his sights. He had the plans and the purposes of God before him. He had his eyes fixed on it. And with that, he was able to endure, and he sat at the right hand of God. And says, consider him who bore the oppression from sinners so that you will not grow weary and lose heart. And what this verse is telling us is, firstly, you need to get your eyes set on Jesus, right? Because so often what we do is the things that we're staring at are not helping us get to the places that we need to be. And we wonder why our lives are falling apart, but really, it's not a secret. It's not complicated. The reason why things are falling apart is because I'm just giving too much attention to these things. Like I said, I don't dislike any of these things, except TikTok, okay? But I know most of you guys are there with me. You're like, yeah, it's got its ups and downs, okay? Right? Hopefully something greater will come about in life at some point, because we all know we can do better, right? Same with Republicans, Democrats. It's like, okay, we can do better, right? So we got all these things, and they're not all bad, but for a lot of us, we're giving too much attention to these things. You guys can go, you can set those down. You guys can walk down. You can keep it, yeah. Also, it's not hypocrisy. He's not Jesus. Just got to be clear. It's just an example, okay? Oh, keeping it? Thank you, guys. Give them a hand because they're awesome. Wonderful, beautiful human beings. We need to fix our eyes on Jesus. For some of us, we do need to get rid of some things. Honestly, you don't need Instagram, right? You can have Instagram. I'm not telling you you can't. but you don't need it. And for a lot of us, we shouldn't have it, right? Because we recognize like it's a trap and it's a snare that the enemy's laid out for us. We need to get rid of some of those things. You know, we wonder why music is so disgusting. You know, like the kind of music that's been coming out lately, that's just gross. You know, it's talking about things that nobody should ever talk about, let alone sing about. You know, and we wonder why does music like this keep coming out? Like maybe if somebody just put out better music, then I would listen to that, you know? Like it's just cool. It's like what's hip, it's what's new. Like somebody else just needs to put out good music. But the reason why that kind of music keeps coming out is because we keep listening to it, right? The reason why it exists is because we feed into it. You give your time, you give your money, you give your attention to it. We put sin on a platform and we praise it, we call it good, and we choose to listen to it when we know it goes against who God is, it goes against the plans that He has for us. And then we wonder why we end up crashing our cars. You know, we end up crashing our lives into a ditch. And then we all want Jesus when things fall apart. But we just ignore Him when things are comfortable, right? Because we don't really want Him. We just want the blessings, right? Look at what David wrote in Psalms 101, verse 3. When I was reading this, when I was preparing this, like I felt convicted. Like it says, I will not set before my eyes anything that is worthless. It says, I hate the work of those who have fallen away. It shall not cling to me. Now, when I was reading this, I was thinking about again, I like music. And I try not to listen to music that's bad, and I try not to fill myself with stuff, but there's music that I listen to, honestly, sometimes that isn't good. And I recognize, this verse applies, it's worthless to me. It's worthless to my life and the kingdom and the plans that God has for me. And what David said is, he said, I hate the work of those who have fallen away. He's like, the people that are in sin, the people that are in rebellion against God, the things that they create are not for the Lord. And David says, I hate it. You know, there's secular stuff out there that's not bad. You know, it's okay. There's people who are secular artists or whatever, and they make stuff that's not bad, and it's okay. Right? Again, I'm not trying to tell you you can't have any of these things unless it was made by a Christian. But it's we need to do some heart checking, right? Like John talked about last week, he was talking about how we want to choose godliness because all these other things like independence and popularity and seeking love and attention and greed and all these things lead to all these really terrible outcomes. The same is true. Once we get our eyes off of Jesus, off of what's important, it leads us down some paths that we don't want to be on. You steer where you stare. Remember that. What are you looking at? Be honest. Be real. There's no point in hiding behind pride because we all got problems, right? I'm being honest with you guys. Be honest. We got issues. We got things to work on. We all do. What things do you need to let go of? Where do you think the Lord wants to take you, right? These are questions we need to be asking, what does the Lord have for you? Because here's the thing, it's so much better than you could ever want or think or imagine. So much better. I'm not even kidding. The truth is, you were designed specifically, if you walk in the plans that God has for you, it's nice. It's perfect. Everything works out exactly the way the Lord intends it. You're full of joy. You're full of peace. Your life is good. It's successful. It's fruitful. You leave a legacy behind, whether that's with your family, with the things that you create, the things that you do. For all of us, for myself included, I think we all know, deep down inside, I want the things that God has for me. The plans that the Lord has for you are so much better. But the problem is we're letting all these other things take our attention and our time more than we should. You can keep a lot of the other stuff around. Like I said, Instagram, YouTube, fashion, all those things, they're not necessarily bad. You can have friends that are outside of your small group, okay? I know I was hitting that one hard, but just because I feel like that happens way too much, right? But you need to recognize that a lot of those friends are not good for you. They're not helping you where your small group is in a place to really help you walk in the plans that the Lord has for you. This church, youth group, right? So many of us, we just leave Jesus in the trunk of our car, or we don't even bring him in the car. Like, you just leave him here at Tuesday night group, and then you pick him back up when you get over here, and then ask him to fix all your problems, and then you go make a bunch more problems and crash your car and ding it up, and then come back, and it's like, Jesus, fix my problems again. And it's over and over and over and over, and nothing gets better. In fact, things just keep getting worse and worse and worse, and we just expect things to magically get better over time, but they don't. Worship team, you guys can get up here. Get set up. Remember, tonight's really about one thing that I felt like the Lord wanted me to tell you, and that's just this, we got to get our eyes fixed. We got to get our sight fixed. Because most of us have been looking in the wrong places for the wrong things for far too long. And tonight, I want to give you guys an opportunity to start a change, okay? Because change doesn't come in a moment. Sometimes it can, if the Lord's willing. Things might happen really quickly. But the change can start now. It starts with you recognizing, I've got a problem. Everybody say, I got a problem. No, not I have a problem. You have, we all have problems. Say, I got a problem. Okay, cool. We all got problems. It's time to start dealing with them.